Welcome back to Mr. Alex Interviews. Today we have Mark Hancock, who's the CEO of Trail Life. And so I have a few questions for you. First, why did you want to start making Trail Life?
Alex, that's a great question. The idea for Trail Life actually came to a group of us. It wasn't like one person who decided this had to happen. There are about 300 volunteers across the country who saw changes that Boy Scouts were making and said that they just couldn't continue with that. And we knew that a lot of churches wouldn't be able to continue to charter Boy Scout troops. So these 300 volunteers came together, and somehow I ended up in that mix somewhere. And so Trail Life was birthed out of really the dreams of hundreds of people across the country who felt like there was a big need for an organization like Trail Life.
Okay, I don't know if you helped with this, but why were the names foxes, and hawks and mountain lions important instead of like other animals?
Oh, okay. So you're talking about in our Woodlands Trail program, fox, hawk, and mountain lion. I think that I was not in on that, but I can tell you a little bit of the history on it. I think initially there were different animals than that. I can't remember what they were, but yeah, we landed on that because we love to use the imagery of moving along the trail, moving up. That runs through our whole program from the green of the Woodlands Trail and the Greenlands, and then you move up into the gray of the Navigators, which is the granite rock as you get to the top of the mountain, and then the blue, the Adventurers, which is blue sky. So we have a lot of symbolism and things like that. And so when you look at the fox and the hawk and the mountain lion, we wanted animals that were appealing to boys at that age. And so I love talking with boys who are kindergarten, first grade, and talking with them about the fox, about how sneaky the fox is, about how fast he is, and about how he moves around and the things that he does. And boys can identify with that animal. And then the hawk, his ability to just see things in a unique way, and the power of soaring. And as a boy is growing up, he begins to see himself as being able to see things in a unique way. And then the mountain lion is, he begins to get a roar, begins to get a sense of who it is that it is as a boy. And so I think that those are perfect animals to represent boys as they're growing up.
Okay, could you share your testimony about how you came to Christ?
Sure. It was actually pretty later on in my life, compared to most people. I was raised in the church, but I didn't really believe anything. And I got away from church. It happens to a lot of people in college. Stopped attending. And later on in my life, I ran into some issues in my life. I was running a business. Right out of college, I'd opened an advertising agency, and it grew really quickly. And I was very successful very fast, but I recognized that there were some issues in my life that I wasn't going to be able to deal with on my own. And through one of my best friends in high school, he joined the Marines after high school, and I went off to college. I reconnected with him. I was doing business in Philadelphia, and I knew that he lived in Philadelphia. And I called him. I said, "Hey, I'm going to be in Philadelphia." And I thought it was going to be like high school. We were going to get together and just party like we did in high school. But he had gotten saved, miraculously healed on the operating table in Okinawa when he was in the Marines. And so he preached to me for 3 days when I visited him in Philadelphia. And I saw something in him that I knew that I didn't have. And I wanted that. I wanted that confidence. I wanted that recognition that there was somebody bigger than he was living on the inside of him. And so at that moment, I somewhere on my way home, an airplane 30,000 feet off the ground over Atlanta somewhere, I decided, yeah, I'm gonna do this thing. Then all by myself, a 3-story condo on the beach in Daytona Beach, Florida. I gave my life to the Lord.
Do you have a favorite Bible verse?
Well, I love that. I love the verse we use a lot in Trail Life, Colossians 1:10 about walking worthy. Also Ephesians 2:10 also makes a reference to walking worthy. So I like those two scriptures for Trail Life. But personally, I love the understanding and the revelation that it's Christ in you, the hope of glory. And that's just a powerful revelation for me, that the greater one is living in us. That's just a big deal.
Okay. Do you have a favorite outdoor adventure that you've attended?
Gosh, and anytime I get together with trailmen, it seems to be just a remarkable experience. And every time feels like the best one because it's hard to recreate the feelings unless you're there in the midst of it. So I've enjoyed a bunch of stuff. Anytime I get invited, I try to participate. I'm not in a troop, not active in a troop. So when I get invited to an area event or a regional event or something like that, I just love being there but I can point to different things. I know we did one of the first adventures I went on Trail Life when my boys were in a troop. I went along with them. We did some spelunking, did some cave exploration in Arkansas. And as part of that, we also did some water rafting and some other stuff. Done some neat hikes. Did a AT. Did good. The whole team did about 50 miles on the AT. I had to peel off because I hurt my knee, but I enjoyed that time on the Appalachian Trail. Recently, I was in Ohio, had a gathering of 800 trailmen, and that was a great time. Just being, with all those trailmen, and then miss this COVID stuff, to be able to be around people that are a lot of fun to be with. And so, the ACE Adventures is something we did early on, a summer adventure that we did with Trail Life in West Virginia. They've got another one planned for this summer, I believe this summer. That's a great place to go. And the New River Gorge is beautiful. Great adventure there. Got to go out to Glorieta, New Mexico. Summer adventure a couple years back. That was a lot of fun. It's hard to pick a favorite.
Yeah. Okay, so you can't pick a favorite. Do you have like a funniest outdoor memory that you have?
Oh gosh, we got to pick one, huh?
I mean, it can be several, but
yeah, I would say. Wow, you caught me on that one. I got to pick one. I think that, gosh, in the younger days when my sons were younger and exploring in the outdoors, there's a lot of great times when they would go off, especially in Florida, camping in Florida, and come back just covered with mud. I mean, literally covered with mud. And they would do such great adventures as deciding to cook fish on the grill. And so you're thinking, okay, we're going to cook fish on the grill. No, they're cooking minnows, little tiny minnows, and putting them on the grill and popping them in their mouth. So those sort of things just bring back good memories.
Okay. What is your favorite thing like cook in a Dutch oven?
I love desserts. Any kind of dessert in a Dutch oven, is just the best. We've done some other things as far as, there's all kinds of stuff you can do in a Dutch oven. But it's just my favorite. I just love a good Dutch oven dessert treat.
Okay. What would your advice be for like trailmen or just Christians in general?
Well, you got to keep the word first. There's so many distraction voices in the world today. So many people trying to point us out to convince us of something other than the truth that we know. So it would be just to follow after God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and understand the preeminence of the Word, the importance of understanding the Word of God, and making that real in your own life and pursuing that. I think do I understand that you had a classical education?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's really important. That the principles that you learn there in terms of your critical thinking, in terms of understanding the value of weighing what it is that you hear. We've got to do that today because there's so many voices out there that are misleading us. We have to stop and say, okay, is that true? And so I think that I would advise trailmen to always ask that question, no matter what is your choice. You got to ask yourself, is that true? Does that line up with the Word of God? Because there's so much distraction out there and so many voices that could lead you the wrong way.
Is the freedom worth it? And if it is, what benefits may it bring you in the future?
Freedom Award is worth it only in as much as you use it to grow yourself. As far as a pat on the back or something like that, we really have to use those opportunities to say, I want to do something that's really difficult and I want to see it through. So I think from that standpoint, it's really worth it. I remember when my first business was an advertising agency, and I would hire people who had an advertising major in college, but I would have to retrain them. So I stopped hiring advertising majors because the schools already taught them wrong. But I always hired people at a college degree, no matter what it was in. It could be in biology, and I would hire them for the ad business because that communicated to me that they did something difficult. They began it and they finished it. And I think that that's a valuable thing in the Freedom Award, pursuing the Freedom Award, is that it's something that you take on that's difficult and you finish it. You see it through to the end. That says a lot about a young man. As far as the benefits, again, being able to say to yourself, I did something hard. There's other stuff that may be important to people. College scholarships that we're seeing more and more of those. We've got a $100,000 scholarship from a college in South Carolina for Freedom Award recipients. And so all those things we're seeing develop as colleges and universities are recognizing the young men that that are pursuing that highest award. So there's all that stuff, but I think the real important thing is how you value and what it is that it did for you. If you take some shortcuts, if you don't go after it with all your heart, you're not going to benefit the same as somebody who really works at it and tries something difficult.
Okay, this is the last question. It's sort of a funny one. Do you think that cereal is a soup, and why or why not?
Cereal is soup. Why or why not? I think that there are very few meals in a bowl that are categorized as soups that at some point in the process are not cooked. And so I think that there is that fine line that you cross from cereal to soup where something has to actually be heated up. And so I would say that cereal is not a soup. And if I got that wrong, I hope I got something else right.
I have no idea if you got it wrong or not, but
Okay.
it's one of those like undecided questions.
That's a great question. I'm going to steal that one.
Well, thank you for doing this.
Alice, thank you so much. God bless you. I hope. Have you decided to go for the Freedom Award?
Yeah, I'm working on it right now.
Good for you. Good for you. Well, I'm looking forward to reading your Freedom Ambition essay. I read every single one of them that's written, and so I'm looking forward to seeing yours come across my desk.
Thank you.
All right. God bless you.
Boys and young men need a call to something greater than themselves. This is the Trail Life. Trail Life USA.